It's Patrice from California, and I'm super excited to be here all with you again today. And I see so many familiar faces, which is just really exciting. It's amazing that in COVID, we actually are really building relationships on the Zoom screen, and it makes me feel really great. So I really do feel like a part of KW Panama. I know Erin feels like a part of KW Panama, and I just feel so grateful and blessed to introduce her. The database class is something she's really passionate about, and I'm sure she'll share that as well. As it changed her business. She's literally built her business in the way that Gary Keller in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent tells us to build our business. And I always like to point out that Gary is brilliant, love him. What's cool about this book is that he didn't just write this from his own mind. He actually went out and researched and found the best practices from the most successful agents at the highest levels all around the country, found that data and the differences, and then brought it back for you and me. So the stuff that we're learning, amazing that it's coming through Gary. It's also the best practices from hundreds of agents from all this time. So Erin is going to teach us this amazing stuff, which she's really built a beautiful business. And I actually met Erin in France earlier this year because she was teaching a class at their conference, their annual conference, on how to sell luxury real estate at a really high level. So she's an amazing teacher. She's been teaching around the world. I hope you're watching her on most of the time on her Facebook website. She has Where to Wheelock, where she's actually interviewing agents from all around the US and around the world on what their business is like. So I'm very happy to have you join us, Erin. I'm going to put it on mute and take it over. And one more time, I just want to say thank you to David, to Nikki, to Charlotte Minaj, all of you. Thank you to everyone that comes in every week for everything and setting this up. And I'm just excited to feel like a part of your family. So take it over, Erin.
Well, number one, thank you, Patrice, right, for putting all of this together. I think a little round of applause here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Patrice.
Yeah. And of course, yes, thank you, everyone, for tuning in and joining us and setting all of this up. How exciting to be. I feel like, you know, if it was, or maybe if my heater was directly on me, I'd feel like I'm there with you in Panama. But either way, I'm very excited to be joining you guys by Zoom. I'm going to start sharing my screen here. So I'm a New York City agent. Ooh. Share. All right. Can you see my screen?
Nope.
Aw, man. It's coming back. I think my computer is having a case of the Fridays, and it doesn't want to work either.
Here it comes. It's coming on.
All right. Perfect. Okay.
It builds character when we have a couple of little bumps, and it's so important for us to learn about patience and grace. So it's
right.
We need an obstacle.
I love it. I love it. Perfect. So, okay. Database for me, I'll start over actually. So I've been in the business for 9 years. My first 3 years, I worked at a few different companies. I did work in the tech industry before I was working in real estate. And it was funny because I was trying to sell cloud computing. And that was, 9 years ago. And everybody was like, what is this cloud, this fictitious cloud? It's not going to be anything. And now I think everybody not only knows what it is, but thrives off of having most things in the cloud. One of the things that I have to say, though, I was extremely, extremely lucky. Oops. I was extremely lucky because when I was at that tech company, they had a CRM, so a client relations manager. And so I understood the idea of what a database was. However, I also, when I got into real estate, I thought, okay, I still have to have this. And the reason why I really wanted a database was because I knew that I could never remember everything, right? I don't know how many of you can do this without writing everything down. But, if I'm talking to someone in another 3 months, I don't remember what our conversation was today. Nonetheless, how many kids they have, what their birthdays are, what their pets' names are, if they're married, single, etc. So that's really, to me, the most important thing about a database. But I had a database that I just threw everyone into There were no systems, no organization, but I was still very grateful to have it because it was a place for me to take notes and set tasks. And then after 3 years of being in the business, I ended up coming to Keller Williams, where I just felt like I was at home. And I think it was the first week I was here, Ignite started. And I was like, all right, I'll take this class. It's very intense. It was like 8 until noon every day for a few weeks. And the second class was the database class, where they teach you about systematically touching the database and the business that you should be getting from the database if you do it properly. And the class blew my mind. I probably had 4,000 to 5,000 people in that database that were just, I just brought them in for my email. I didn't know who was who. I didn't have complete contact. But after that class, I made a commitment to myself and I said, you know what, I love this. I see the benefit in it and I want to do this right. So I exported everything out of my database and wiped it clean. And then I started new, and I started the right way. And when I say this has changed my business and therefore changed my life, it is an absolute understatement.
And Erin, can I just stop you right there? I just want to say, because again, the theme of this class and what we started out with 4 weeks ago is really, number one, yes, you had to go backwards and kind of do a lot of extra work. You literally are saying that you took your database, you had to go into, you exported it, put it into like an Excel spreadsheet, clean it up. So, and this took you quite a bit of work, would you say, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I just want to really make that point for everyone, because it's not like it was easy for you, and it certainly wasn't easy for me. It was worth it, and I'm sure we'll hear more about that. I just really want to hit on that point because I think that's so very important. And you had how many people in your database?
It was between 4,000 and 5,000.
So it's significant, right? So, wow.
Significant, yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to really make sure, especially if anyone has any questions about the exporting and those kind of things, I just wanted to make sure that they know that, yes, it wasn't just like you didn't turn on a switch. You literally had to start that kind of, the same steps we'll all have to do.
Yeah, exactly. It was definitely a lot of work. And for me, it was, now that I know the power of what the database has, no one was getting into it unless I knew who they were and they wanted to be in the database. And then I could systematically work it to create the amount of business that I want, which we're going to go over. But yeah, no, that took a really long time. Okay, so making the most of your database. So what is a database? So thankfully, we have Gary Keller, who is creating, I say creating because I feel as though it's ever evolving command. So that's really what we're going to talk about. Now, a database to me, or a data bank, as a lot of people call it, because it is a money machine. It is a tool that I use to, just at the simplest level, we'll go. The database is a tool I use to remind me when and who to call. And it stores all of the important information about those people, right? So that to me is really what a database is. So I'm just going to show you, right? Command. We all have command. We're all working on our commands. So this, for me, this task list is the essential piece of a database. Honestly, if we didn't have the Facebook ads, the opportunities, the designs, anything else, and we just had this piece, it would still be worth its weight in gold. So I'm going to click on someone. So Anna. Anna is someone, I should actually say this first. So I have decided to take COVID to move my database from Infusionsoft, where I pay $300 a month, I can't, to Command that we get with Keller Williams. Thank you, Gary. And so what I'm trying to do now is kind of backtrack and go into all of those people that I haven't moved over yet from Infusionsoft. And here is the blessing of a database. So here's Anna Schuster as an example. I just moved her over the beginning of this month, and she's not somebody that I have a big relationship with. If you'll look, I have notes that I've just transferred over from Infusionsoft, but you'll see there's dates from 2017. So when her and I got on the phone, she did say like, oh, did we ever meet in the past? And I was like, no, I think it would be in my notes, but we have been talking since 2017. And that immediately gave me a leg to stand on, I guess, when talking to her about selling. I have my notes in there. She took it off the market when she didn't answer, which is a great way for you to keep track of, you know, what times you should be calling certain people. You know, 2018, no intention of selling anymore. And her, I called on the 26th. I just left a voicemail, right? Because she was in my list of people to call that day. Hey, you know, if you do have any questions about the market, I'm here for you. I know this is a strange year that we are all experiencing. So, you know, please reach out. And I left her my number. Just got back from a listing appointment with her, and we're going to list in November. The point of that is, if I didn't have these notes to go back to and I wasn't keeping up with my database, she would have been someone I called once and never followed up with again, right? I think the money is always in the follow-up.
I love that, Erin. I think that's amazing. And is that, you literally just signed this, you're just listing this person right now, so.
Yeah, I walked back, sat down, and turned on my Zoom.
Wow, that's amazing. So you, number one, these are the better notes that I've ever put in my own notes. So it's really amazing. And I've never thought about putting dates the way that you have. And what's amazing is you must have so much more confidence calling her because you sound like you remember her. And it's easier to have that relationship when it's not like, oh, I don't really remember. Tell me everything about you. It's definitely awkward to ask someone for business if it doesn't even appear that you remember them. So I'm really impressed. I think that's amazing.
Thanks.
I love that.
Well, and if you think about it too, you know, that's such a great point. Being able to know the little details, especially when people have children, right? That is something that's so, it's of course very important, but also if you could just remember those little things, it's almost like rebuilding a relationship. And the truth is, if you're making 10 or 20 contacts a day, there's no way that we can remember all of this stuff, right? I don't even think I remember what I ate for dinner on Monday. So trying to remember someone's dog's name or breed or what their future goals are, impossible when we're making that many contacts. And that's why this is so important. So, you know, like today I brought up going back to Canada and all of these different things, but having these notes is really, to me, what the database is. Okay. So we talk a lot about how to build your database. So here's a few ways, and I'll talk about them a little bit more. So cold calling, I didn't even know what cold call, I mean, I knew what cold calling was, right? It's those people that you hang up on that bother you during dinner. Like that's what cold calling was to me. And I'm not exactly sure what the rules are in Panama. So of course you have to follow your rules and your guidelines. But for me, when I came to Keller Williams and I started hearing about these scripts for just listed and just sold, that's how I built my database. I'll give you another example that's actually really exciting. So there's a man, his name is Yoshi Cohen, and I called him probably in 2015. He was a cold call. It was just, gosh, I even remember the script. It's like, hi, my name is Erin Wheelock. I'm calling you from Keller Williams, New York City. I've just listed 200 West 24th Street around the corner from you. Who do you know that would like to move into our neighborhood? That's the script. I've been using it for years. And that script to me was really unintrusive. I was giving them value. I would invite them to the open house. And through those calls, I built up a database. But I didn't just do that. So I would cold call, and if they would start to be interested, Then I would go into more of a forward script, which is talking to them about their, what is the future? What are their life goals? What are their dreams, right? Where do they want to be? Because I'd often say something, and they'd be like, oh, I don't know anybody that's moving here. Not a problem. Do you have anything that I should keep my eyes, or do you have any questions about the market? No. Is there anything that I can keep my eyes open for you, right? Because we're here to be not just a real estate professional for them, but we're there to be their eyes, right? I work with a lot of financial people, so I often tell them, someone watches your stocks because that's a very important investment. Why don't I watch your assets of real estate the same way? So that when we have those initial conversations, as I said, I ask them about their goals, where they want to be in 5 years, and then I put in all of those notes, and then I schedule the appropriate follow-up. Because there are people that you'll call through cold calling that will tell you, no, I plan on being here for at least the next 2-3 years. Well, I don't know about you. I'll probably be in business in the next 2-3 years. So I want to make sure I have all of that information of what they're looking for so that when the time gets closer, I can be that real estate professional of choice, or my team can be, right? Open houses. Again, I know right now for us at least, we're not able to do open houses because of COVID, but open houses is a great way to build your database because you have people that have raised their hand and said, I want to buy. Or here we are in a very vertical market. However, I would have to assume it happens in other ways as well, where people are also raising their hands. Yeah, where people are also raising their hand and saying, I want to see what this is worth because I'm a nosy neighbor and I might want to sell, right? Nosy neighbors, by the way, are my favorite because you have to befriend them because they know everything about everyone. They're the ones that are like, well, so-and-so has been fighting for years and the wife hasn't come back. I think they're getting a divorce. This is not very polite of me to talk about, but those are the people that you want in your corner, right? I love the nosy neighbor. I don't know. So for open houses,
I'm the same way, Erin. Yeah. I always think I would rather them be my friend than my enemy as well. Yeah. And they're coming in whether you like it or not. So I may as well welcome them over. And you're right, they are fantastic. And because they're expecting negativity sometimes, if you can make them welcome, you're going to have a friend for life, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So for the open houses, the thing that I found for myself was so important is you have to be the one collecting the information. So for me, no one was allowed into the home unless I asked them for their information. I know a lot of people will just have a piece of paper sitting somewhere. No, I've gotten, I don't even know how many not working numbers or wrong numbers or email addresses that don't exist, right? People don't want to give you their information. However, when you are bringing them up to the door or you're standing in front of the door and you say, what is the best number for me to follow up with you? I would say 9 times out of 10, they're going to be much more honest. What's the best email for me to follow up with you? And then they, again, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be honest. They're going to give you accurate information, which is what you need not only for your seller so that you can properly follow up, but also for your business, because those are all leads if they come in without an agent. And again, I'm not exactly sure how things work in Panama, so it might be a little bit different. But for me, that's gold. The other thing that I would do, because especially I found for nosy neighbors, they're like, no, I'm just in the building. I just want to take a look around. No problem. However, we are raffling off a gift card. And I tell them it's only one, and it's like a $25 Amazon gift card, right? People will give you all of their information for a chance to win a gift card. They'll tell you their, at least here, their apartment number. I mean, you can get anything for a gift card. And honestly, you could probably even do it for like a $10 gift card. But I just have a little sheet that they fill out their name, their number, their address, their email, and they give you all of the information. And the best part about that, for me is one, now I, of course, have their accurate information. And number two, everyone that doesn't come with an agent wins. And I, of course, have to go drop it off in person, right? So then when I go to drop it off in person, I'm like, oh my gosh, your home looks so beautiful. And instantly, right? Great. Do you want to come in? Out of curiosity, have you had a home evaluation recently? Right? And then you get to talk about their home value. Oh, I know you're not selling now, but if you were to sell, where would you move? Right? I know you're not selling now, but if you did want to sell, what price would it make sense for you? Then I come back, I put all of this information into the database, because you'd be surprised. I've actually gone into people's homes and they'd be like, well, I'll sell at, 1.2. I'm like, did you know that at the current market, you could probably make more than that? Should we talk? Right? If you don't get the answers, you just don't know. And the truth is, we have people on the other end, these homeowners that very often will tell you, their thoughts on the market, but they're not the professionals. We're the professionals.
And Erin, I just want to stop on that again, because I think that it's so important, and I really hope everyone's paying attention, and I'm sure the leadership is definitely jumping up too. The same as you this is a class about your database. Everyone assumes it's about putting your information in, but you're really telling us is that from the minute when you meet them, you are looking for an opportunity to sell, right? So you're being strategic about making sure that you get that information. You're having these conversations that come up, whether it's sometimes, like you said, they don't want to give it to you. You ask anyway, right? And then you use that as an opportunity to build a dialogue. And then now you found, because you have that information, you can reach out to them again, and you're not just bringing it over and running. I don't know about you guys, but we would have ding dong ditch, you ring the doorbell and then you run away. And I think agents do that a lot, when you just want to run, because we're all a little fearful sometimes. And yet you really take it that next level, and you really push, and you have those same conversations, slightly different, of giving that opportunity. And that's for it also, right? If you were to sell, those are the same questions that we learn in Bold. So I just really wanted to say that. Does anyone have any questions about that or comments that they want to share? Erin, is that okay that I interrupted? I just think that's so important.
Absolutely.
Does anyone want to share anything or have any questions on that? Anyone have that same aha?
No?
Just me.
All right. No
Thanks,
problem.
Liz. I appreciate it.
I love it. Okay. So that's what happens. Your phone, you guys, this thing has so many contacts in it. And I know when I came to KW and they were like, call through your phone, I was like, no, I don't want to talk to those people. They know me, right? How funny if you actually think about it. It's like, I don't want to call them and ask them for business if they know me. I learned a very important lesson. I went over to dinner. I have a small group of friends. We all live within blocks of each other on the Upper West Side. And we probably do dinner once a month together, or once a week, sorry, not once a month, once a week together. This is how often we see each other. And one day I was over at my friend Jane's home, because she was hosting, and I saw her on Street Easy, which is our biggest consumer portal for looking at properties. And I was like, Jane, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, Erin, I'm buying a home. I'm like, oh, Jane, I'm a real estate professional. Why aren't we talking? She's like, oh yeah, honey, that's right. You are. I'm like, but that's the thing is, the people, if you think about it, the people in your phone, the people that are closest to you are the people that we should want to protect the most, right? We don't want them with another agent that might steer them in the wrong direction or not negotiate them the best deal, right? But those are also the people that I personally feel we are the most fearful about talking to about it. So now what I've done to kind of take that fear away is, if we would go for like drinks or a happy hour, I would make a joke. I'd be like, okay, everyone, tell me who you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate so that I can tax deduct my drinks. So it became a very fun, lighthearted way for me to start asking people for business in my inner circle without feeling like I'm selling myself. But I got to tell you, the people in your phone also want to hear from you, because I believe the majority of the time they feel like they can be more honest with you than someone else. All right. Social media. I know that there is a way on Facebook that you can actually take or get everybody's emails from the back end of Facebook. I don't know how to do this, but I know there is a way to do it, and it is Googleable. But you can also build your database through Facebook by reaching out to people, right? If somebody's they just got pregnant, that is the best time to reach out to them. Congratulations. Let me know if you need more space. And then slowly getting information from them, right? Congratulations, I would love to send you a card. Is it possible that I could get your address, right? There's all these little ways that we can use social media in order to build our database and build the information in our database more. And then agency meet. I mean, my team will probably, or will definitely attest to this. Yesterday, I think I almost had a heart attack when I saw how much money Keller Williams shared in profit share in Q3. I hope you're all sitting down for this. Q3, we profit shared over $62 million back to the agents. I'm going to say it one more time. $62 million back to the agents in Q3. We're in a pandemic and we profit shared that much. I mean, growth shared, profit shared. That is huge. So agents you meet need to go into your database. Agents with Keller Williams so that you're staying in touch with your referral partners is so important. And then agents that you meet that aren't KW, and they can be anywhere in the world. I've sponsored someone actually in California to join, and other areas that aren't, New York City. So if they're not with KW and they're anywhere in the world, add them because you still have a chance for them to be in your downline. And you never know what clients they have for your properties, and vice versa.
I love that, Erin. I love the idea. You know me and my referrals. We want to make the biggest referral network around the world, and not every agent works in a specific territory. So I just love that. Again, I think this is something that a lot of people don't do, and they miss that opportunity of having that relationship with realtors and realize that we can get business that way by building those same relationships. So I love that you included that on there, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just find this funny. What do you do with the database? You touch it. Trying to get that out of the way. Always gives me a giggle. I'm like a 3-year-old at heart. Okay, so how do you touch your database? All right, so quarterly touches for me are really important. I follow the rule, and of course now I can't think of it, but it is from Never Ending Referrals where you call 2 letters over a week. And if you call 2 letters over a week, I know Patrice mentioned this previously, you make sure that you call everybody in the database every quarter. So the first one is A and W. Second week is B and E. Third week, I don't have my paper in front of me, but it always rhymes. It has a cute little, I don't know, something to it.
So see if I can find the link for it and put it in the text, because it will be definitely nice to have. And the bold classes are really getting into using this system as well. So
yeah, that's great. So those quarterly touches, and I'll tell you more of how I also do those with tags in a little bit. But the quarterly touches, honestly, now some of the people, and by now, a lot of the people in my database, I know how they like to be touched, whether it's phone call, email, or text. And sometimes it's as simple as me giving, someone a call. Hey, just do my quarterly follow-up. Has anything changed? Who that I can help. And there are honestly some people that answer and they're like, Erin, hey, it's been 3-4 months. So good to hear from you again. I don't know anybody. Talk to you later, right? And it can be just super quick and simple. It's not intrusive. But it's also good too, because if you really make sure that you're on top of your game and you know what's happening in the market, you're just offering people value. You're not trying to take anything from anyone, right? Handwritten note cards to me are so important. I have one here that I'll show you. So we had them made from Vistaprint, super inexpensive, has our logo on it. And then I'll just write like a thank you on the back. Like, thank you so much for taking my call. If you know of anybody, please let me know. And I leave my information, or I put a business card in there. but that really helps to make sure that it's like a follow-up touch. So whenever somebody goes immediately into my database on that call, the first thing I do is I'll send them a card. It's also great because I follow up a week after that to be like, hey, just want to make sure you got my card in the mail or you got my letter in the mail. And if they say no, I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so strange. I must have the wrong address for you. Can I get, can you confirm your address with me? And then they'll tell you, and that's a great way to get an address if you don't have it. Newsletters. So newsletters, I do those every other week. They're very, very, very simple. What I've found and started doing is that I get a really good reaction by starting it with a video. So it'll be like a 30-second video. Hey everyone, Erin here, your favorite real estate professional. Below you're gonna see, X, Y, and Z, right? Maybe it's like where to go pumpkin picking, some updated information about the market, and a beautiful home in Thailand, right? Super quick, to the point. And then now I'm trying to button it up with like, who do you know that's expanding their family and needs more space? Something to get them thinking. And then I upload that onto my YouTube channel and I do all the tags there. But it's nice because if for some reason someone's searching YouTube, they'll still find my little entry to the newsletter. But then it's, that video goes on the top of my newsletter. So that's a great way to touch them. I like to think of, Amazon. I'm so sad to say it. I buy everything through them. Everything. And I don't open a single one of their emails, right? But they send them constantly. It's not about people opening it. It's about people seeing your name come through so that you are top of mind, right? That's very important. Just remember that. Smart plans. Smart plans, I know that you went through with Patrice. They are gold. And they're also gold because they're efficient and they save you time. When they can be automatic, like some of them send out automatic text, right? That just saves you time. And then it also is a way for you not to have to think about what your next touch is going to be, because you already have the smart plan built and it just triggers all of your next things. Events. I know Patrice is the event queen. I'm not quite as good, but I did do about 3 events a year, and that was great. I just called it my client gives back. I would rent out a space, open bar and food, and then I would always in the invitation ask them who are you bringing that I should be introduced to, so that they were thinking about it when I was sending out the invitation. And then my A+ gifts. So it's almost Thanksgiving here in America. So I give out pumpkin pies for my top clients, right? So these are people that I really want their listings. So I'm trying to butter them up and stay top of mind. I'm currently working with them, so I want to keep them happy. Or they send me referrals. And I like it. They're sending me at least 2 to 3 referrals a year. That's really my A+. So they're getting a pumpkin pie. We're going to do a holiday gift this year because we didn't have the events because of COVID. We're actually going to try also doing a wine tasting over Zoom. Not sure how that will work, but we're going to try. But the A+, right, they get these gifts. And then it's actually funny because I have one client, her name is Bonnie. She's wonderful. She's referred a lot of people to me. But then she didn't refer for a little while, and she did ask me once, because I'll also give away, this time I've started to do soap, really nice soap. But she did ask me once why she hadn't gotten a gift, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Wait, who's the last person you sent over? I'm sure we sent you a gift afterwards, and she kind of figured it out for herself. So, how to categorize and tag. All right. So I haven't renamed this.
Sorry, can I just stop? Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button.
Please.
I just think it's also really important about how we're talking about when you have these people, that it is okay for you to have a standard for people to be qualified in that section. And it is okay to find some way for them to understand that you are in this business and that you are rewarding them for their goodness. And obviously we don't want to be weird with them and be super strict, like, oh yeah, I'm cutting you out of my life. And at the same time, it is okay to say, hey, you're one of my A-list clients. you support my business. And so I love giving you that appreciation. I think, I know in the past, you know, you talk about, I have events and I've done a lot of giving, and I haven't done a lot of making clear expectations. And we say in KW a lot, we need to inspect what we expect. And sometimes we don't remember that we should be giving those expectations to people. And so I just think that it's really important, as you're saying that, and you're so clear, that it is okay when we're talking about running this as a business, is to hold your events accountable, the gifts accountable. It is okay for you to run this as a business, right? And to let that person know, you know, I do want to continue getting business from you. And this is, you're my A-list client. And, you know, I have lots of awesome people in my database. I can have you in my life, but to make this list, I want you to give me more business. So please, you know, send someone to me right now because I want to buy you something. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you, Patrice. She's been a part of me where my headphones decide to hang up on me, but I'm back with sound.
Perfect.
So thanks. Okay, so here, this sheet is titled Infusionsoft because that was my old one. So, but this is how I categorize people, and a lot of these things are very MREA. However, there's a couple things that I believe I do differently that are a very big value add for my clients.
And Erin, will you share this with us after, or do you want people to take, would that be okay, so that they don't have to take notes and they can listen?
Yeah, I can definitely share this with you afterwards. Thank you. Let me know the best way to do that and I will make it happen. Okay, so contact types, right? So met and haven't met is something that we do through KW. So if you've met them, you have, if they're a met, you haven't just met them in person, right? You have their phone number, their email, their home address, and we like to have one piece of social media, whether it's LinkedIn, their Instagram, their Facebook, something. I actually just want to say something. It took me a really long time to allow myself to incorporate business with my social media, because I was like, no, I don't want people to see my real life, blah, 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 blah. And then I also didn't want to be on social media being cheesy or anything and talking about business. And then somebody, I think it was at one of the family reunions, he said, you know, you can either be cheesy and make money or be like private on social media and not. And I was like, oh, I'd rather make money. So social media now is a big thing for me. Lead, if it's brand new to database, met, haven't met means we just don't have everything for them. If it's an agent, if it's a KW agent, or if it's one of my vendors, that's kind of the types that I categorize people as. So the tags, right? These tags are extremely important, and they are, I will tag them by the first letter of their last name. So that's how I'm pulling like my A's and W's, right? For the never ending referrals calling. And the reason why I do it that way instead of just searching is because if someone is active, I'm not calling them quarterly. If someone is like let's say a B seller or a B buyer, then I'm calling them much more than quarterly. So that's why for me, it made more sense to put that tag in there when they're a quarterly call, just because some people need more communication and some people, no one needs less, but some people need a lot more communication. I also tag them by their neighborhood. So when somebody comes to an open house, I'm going to tag them by the neighborhood they came to, the size of the apartment that they came to. I'm going to tag them by the building address, because we're in a vertical market, so you might not need a building address, and the apartment number. And here's why. Because I have very often had it where I'm selling a unit in a building and then I sell upstairs or downstairs or something around the corner in that area. So what I can do, and a value to my sellers, is to say like, hey, Mr. Seller, I actually have 40 active buyers that I have their phone numbers and emails that came to see, you know, this property right around the corner or upstairs, downstairs, whatever. The first thing I'm going to do after you sign this paperwork is call all of those people to see if one of them is interested in buying your property. How does that sound? Right? That is such a great value. Or if it's something that was, a gut project and I have another gut project coming up, then all I have to do is search by that apartment, everybody that came there, and send it over.
I want to say again, we're always talking about doing a value add in this business. So what you're saying is you literally are using your database to add value. So when you're on a listing, you're using this process to help sell and get the listing in the first place. Correct?
Absolutely.
Plus, of course, it'd be great if you sold them that property, but you really are using it as a value. I mean, you can say, and not every agent does this. So any of us that adopt this process will really be ahead of the game, right? Because we have our own set of buyers already there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and same with the sellers. I'll tag the sellers because oftentimes you're like, well, if you have someone, right, but they're not that motivated. So I'll tag them, and I actually tag them as hot sellers. So like if somebody wanted to come, then they would sell, because sometimes I'll be on the phone with a buyer and they're like, yeah, well, what I'm looking for isn't really out there. I'm like, okay, great. Let's talk about what you're looking for. I'll do a quick search on the location and maybe the size, and it'll pull up a list for me. And I'll be like, you know what? I'm actually seeing, 20 people that I've spoken to in the past that said they would be open to selling that, somewhat match your criteria. I'm going to give all of them a call, right? It's such a great value. And they see that you're doing something different. So that for me is something that I feel like everybody should adopt, because it's just such a great value, as you said, for the sellers and for your buyers, so that you can really lock in these clients. Yeah. All right. My source. Treating your business like a business is maybe the most important thing that you can learn. And as far as I'm concerned, source is more important than anything else, because that's where you track your dollars, right? So I know by my sources how many people are coming from my database. I know how many people are coming from Street Easy leads, right? Or from my Facebook leads. That is so important, because if you're spending money on Facebook, then you need to track how much money you're making off of Facebook. And I believe Gary wants things to be at 10x, right? So you're getting 10 times the return. Of course, you're going to need to do this for a little while to see if you're actually doing it. But then how powerful would it be if you find out, I'm actually getting, a 20% return from mailers and only a 4% return from open houses? What would you do? Maybe I'll do twice as many mailers and I'd spend less on the open houses, right? So that's why this source is so important. And I think the source for me really kind of clicked it into how to really treat my business like a business. Yeah. And then these are just kind of how we define some of them. The A+, A's, B list, and C list. And again, we do tag people as that here, make C list into B list. Hot buyers, hot sellers, pipeline. Also because I'm the first to admit, I've definitely missed out on a lot of people. So I will tag them as a pipeline, because you just can't remember everyone, right? But you want to do as best you can. Hence the database.
I'm definitely learning quite a bit, Erin. I have to say that there are a lot of these things that we do not do as a practice. Like I don't always check on the source, and you are so right. And right now it's business planning time. And if we're going to be running this as a true business and we want to make decisions for next year, if we want to make decisions about growth, we really do need to know where the money is coming from, and we have to run it in a smart way. So I really love this. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have two of my team members on here, actually, so I'm excited that they're hearing this as well. Yay!
Thanks for joining, guys. Okay. Any questions?
I know. You guys definitely, if anyone has any ahas or any questions, make sure that we're doing this interactive, because something that you may notice, someone else may have missed, and especially since we're speaking in a language that isn't exactly your native language, and you understand, you really may be able to help someone on this phone call that has a question and maybe a little shy. So we would love to hear anything. And I've got David off of mute, so.
Yes, when Erin mentioned she's in a vertical market, we're very much in a vertical market. A large percentage of our sales are made in what we call them apartments, but you call them condo buildings. It's just a definition thing.
Yeah.
So in Panama City, we have 50-story high rises, 40 stories, and it creates a challenge of marketing, and we don't have mail. So mailing something is out. So all your other techniques and how you pursue the vertical market with the sale of a unit, then somebody 2 up, 4s up, 1 around the corner, that's very much the market that we're in. And so that knowledge that we gain about a specific building is what we can transfer and offer to our next listing appointment, because we do have people that inquired about the certain building. So thank you.
No, that's great. Can I actually ask you, David, are you allowed to cold call or call through a building?
If you can get in the building.
Okay.
So for instance, if you're there in the building doing a listing, now you're in. And so you could do that. It's not a common practice here, but you could certainly drop a flyer on a doorknob for the next 10 units that are around there. So it's a world that once you're in past the gate, you can do different things. And so and it's probably very similar to New York. Some buildings are different than other buildings. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like it would be so powerful then for you guys, especially if you could drop flyers. Here we can't drop flyers, but so I would call, but if you could call or drop flyers and be like, to all of the units in the line, be like, we had, 15 showings this week. This unit is obviously going to sell. Who else wants to sell? I have all the contact information for these 14 other buyers. I mean, that could be really powerful.
And that's true. Absolutely. So you can relate directly to a lot of our activity here in Panama based on what you're doing in a vertical market.
Yeah. Oh, that makes me very happy. Most times I talk to people and they're like, but we have neighborhoods and homes. I'm like, I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. We're very much in a sort of distant until you can get into it world, because we don't even have regular addresses. So you can't just mail to the zip code or anything like that. So it's a lot more on the ground and tangible and then asking that neighbor, hey, Miss Nosy Neighbor, who do you know? Because we have clients for that building and they will speak up.
Yeah. Love the nosy neighbor.
Yes, they're fabulous. And we all have them.
Yes, we do.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, David. I love it. Anyone else? All right. Well, I mean, that's pretty much it for this, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Oh, actually, if you want to take a photo, if anybody wants my information, please feel free to reach out. I always love to chat, answer questions. Zoom.
And Erin, if you smile, I'll do a little screenshot of it too, and we could post this picture later, so it'll have your.
I love it. All right. Well, I will stop sharing this. Yay. And I have all of your beautiful faces and names in front of me. Awesome. All right. So what are one of you going to implement? I want one action step that someone's going to take. Not all at once. I'm going to start calling on you.
Right? I know.
How about putting 5 people in your database today?
I love it. 5 people today, super easy. You guys got this?
I love that, David. And I do agree that the tiny increment compound effect style is so very smart. And Erin, it's funny because you said that about the phone, and I have 3,000 or so people in my phone, and I definitely have phone fear, and I haven't done a good job. I literally have someone that'll just say buyer Main Street. I'm like, clearly they were a buyer at some point, and then I'll have like a first name buyer, and I've been doing this for 14 years, and I just, that's by the way, not a good system. It should have a name, it should have a first name. I'm lucky to have anything. And you're right, I should just put it in and we should just go through it. And that would be like David's system of 5 at a time. I can handle that. And I'm sure that there is business in my phone.
Ironically enough, the whole COVID lockdown quarantine experience gives us all a free pass on readdressing our database contacts, because it's easy to say, hey, I hope you survived this mess. And has it changed your plans of the future? And you don't even have to be specifically remembering anything about them. I've had that situation myself.
Yeah. No, that is such a great point.
So at least you're saying something relevant if you can't remember Main Street and where you met them or how.
Yeah. I used to offer, when COVID first hit, I offered people toilet paper. I was like, I have a guy at the local Dwayne Reed. Do you need toilet paper? I've got the hookup. It's my like easy way to slide in there with some people.
I've never done that, but you never know.
Isaac, were you going to say something?
Hello. Thank you guys for this meeting. Just that I have a couple of leads that I need to input today to the database. Hopefully, just starting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It better be 5.
Yeah, 5.
I know, David. I have the rest of the afternoon to get on it.
Excellent.
Yeah. I have a feeling you're going to put 10 in. You're going to exceed all of our expectations. You're 10.
We hope so. We hope so.
I love it. Well, any other questions, thoughts, things to implement?
What about Duck and Stephanie? So I'm going to put my people on the spot a little bit to see. Duck, I don't know if Steph's still here. Duck, is there anything that you learned that we certainly haven't quite done yet? Uh-oh, he's hiding out. He's got 2 little ones at home.
Sorry,
Here he comes.
Sorry, I have kids. Just put them in another room. But I like that icebreaker that you have when you are hanging out with your friends or so, and you don't want to self-promote yourself, because it's kind of corny sometimes, and you don't want. That's really hard for a lot of people. I know for myself it is. And for you to you brought up that whole fact where you just kind of jokingly throw that out there. I really like that.
Yeah, I like to do things through humor when I can, if I don't feel comfortable.
Right, it's easy to do when it's funny.
So easy.
Patrice teaches me that you got to be a little humorous.
My shame is my game, people. It really is. If you can be silly about it, I mean, everybody should know that we are in this business, and it's both a blessing and a curse that everybody we know is a customer, right? And when people talked about the pandemic and the coronavirus, I would joke and say, as it turns out, houses are actually even more popular in a pandemic, right? Like, people want to live somewhere more than before, and they're finding out the problem. So I just, we really should use our senses of humor for people. I always think as salespeople, we are the bravest people that we know, right? We are considered as entrepreneurs. The percentage, I want to say it's like the 3% of people have that personality that we have. We automatically are more driven. We're more aggressive than most people. And I think we need to stop hiding from that and feel like who we really are. That means 97% of the people are more fearful than we are, right? So we need to lead the way and show them how to approach us. We need to show them how to support our business. And if we can be fun and funny, then they can follow our lead. But if we're scared, they're going to be more scared. It's literally like that animal instinct, right? It's like, I'm sorry to say, you guys, you are the fox. They are the bunny rabbits, right? You just need to show them that you are non-threatening and have a fun time. Otherwise, it could certainly be uncomfortable. And if you can just be really silly about it, I think it's nice. And as Duck mentioned, we talk about this on the team all the time. You don't want to put on your real estate costume when you're with your friends, and they never know when that's going to come out. So if you are a lead generator all the time and you're funny about it and you're silly and you ask everyone for business, then you can just be Patrice, who's a really good business person, Erin, who's a business person. You can be yourself. And oh, by the way, I just happen to be business. What people don't like is when you're Patrice and you're out having a cocktail and then, that person gets, They have one beer and then you're like, okay, I need business. And you're kind of creepy because you seem like a different person. But if you really just say, I'm a business person and this is what I do. I'm looking for business Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if you're taking me away to go have a cocktail, I have to be able to write this off. It's funny, it's cute, and it really is true to who you are, right? We are entrepreneurs. We are running a business, and we don't have a car lot where people are just going to drive up and come to our house and find that business, especially without an open house. We have to go out there, and I think people will respect that so much more and be a lot more comfortable if we stop trying to hide that fact, right? And of course, like you said, humor is kind of the best way to do it because it is funny. It's like, yeah, I need a deal today. I'm going to need a deal tomorrow. I can use one the next day and the next day and the next day. So if you just don't hide from that, it's like, all right, that's who I am, right?
Yeah. It's just being authentic and having it just be a part of you. Yeah. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, if you always mean well, you're never going to come off salesy like this.
No.
Slimy little real estate person, right? If you always have those good intentions inside.
Absolutely. And, and again, going back to the database class is using that to be strategic about it. And by the way, if you are strategic and people want to support successful people. I started this business as a single mom with 2 small children. Guess how many people gave me business? Nobody. People don't. Now that I'm successful, people give me business. It's so much easier. Don't get me wrong, I need it, but I don't need it at that level. But when I really needed it, people were less comfortable doing it. When you are a professional and I'm very direct, I'm a business person, it's interesting. I don't need it as much and people are more comfortable to do it. So we have to see things from their perspective. When you are professional and you're not hiding from that, they'll be more likely to give you that business because you respect yourself. And it's easier for them to respect that professionalism. If you're just kind of hiding that from everyone, it's going to make them a little bit more uncomfortable too, whether you needed the business or not.
True.
Anyone else? Les, you just came on. Are you going to chime in?
Hello. No, I totally agree with you, Patrice. It's a way of how you sell yourself to your friends, to your family, to your contacts. It depends. You can make it in a funny way, but if it's your job, it's your job. I mean, that's what you do for a living. And I don't think we should be feeling bad about it. It's not about selling. It's about helping, right? Helping to get the best deal. So they should be happy about that somebody's out there, a friend, etc., who is trying to help, either finding the best buyer or finding the best property. Yeah.
And
so
Erin said that earlier. You're protecting them from the other guy, right? I don't know about in Panama, but I definitely know there are agents that I'm like, oh, good Lord, I don't know how that person gets business, and I'm worried about their clients, right? So you really do want to have that mindset of like, no one's going to fight for you more than I will, right? You'd be crazy to go somewhere else. And oh, by the way, I'm bold enough to ask you for that business because I am a professional. I'm not going to be weird about it, and I don't expect you to be weird about it either. So yeah, I love that, Luz.
Sure. Absolutely. And in the end, our friends decide if they want to go with us or not. The only thing what we can do is offer our services, right? Yeah. So no hard feelings if they choose somebody else. It's life, but we should totally go for it.
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, I know we're pretty much at time. I love the interaction. So I've asked Erin if she would share her tag. So Erin, if you send it to me, I have a form that I'm putting the DTD2 together. So I have everyone's email address. And if you send me your form, I will put those 2 together on a sheet. So that way we can send it to everyone and they can have the way that she's doing the tags and also the DTD2 information. And I actually need to do that for my team anyway with the dates for 2021. So I'll actually go through and set it up for the week so that you guys will get all of that information. So we can send that via email to everyone.
Perfect.
And it looks like we're at time. David's off of mute, so we'd love to hear what you have to say. I'm so grateful for everyone that came. I know Erin is as well. And you can see by the smiles on our faces how much we really enjoy this. And it's just made our day. So I really do feel like part of your office. So don't tell me if I'm wrong.
It is the word family, and it's an interesting concept. And we all feel like we know you and Erin much better. And your information and presentation will take us, on a journey this year, because as people learn how to use this system and hear the endorsements of you guys of how it's affected you is super powerful for us. So thank you for the time that you took. It's you made a big commitment to do this multi-part series, and I thank you and we thank you.
Patrice is such a rock star, honestly, you guys. Great job, Patrice.
Not lying at all. This is true. Just kidding. No, sorry. Thank you, Erin. I get nervous around compliments, so I always have to be silly a little bit. What I should say is thank you. I appreciate that, Erin.
Patrice, you did such a great job.
Thank you.
So good. Thank you. Erin, thank you too. You
Of
guys are
course.
awesome. Was very helpful.
I'm glad. And we will definitely be back. I know Nikki asked about some of the other classes. Some of the more specific classes. I will say my personality is I'm a lot more of the natural or the stuff that we've collaborated from all the classes. And Erin is so good at presenting the KW materials. So we'll figure out some way to come back and to bring more value, because we really do want, we didn't want this to just be about us to having our faces up here in the classes. We truly want everyone to get such success and to build their business and to be great resources. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yes,
this has been awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
And make sure you guys are friends on Facebook. I'm almost at 5,000, so do it quickly.
Oh my.
Thank you,
Nice.
David. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
It's been awesome.
Okay, good weekend.
Guys,
Thank you.
have a
Stay
wonderful
safe. Stay
Friday.
safe.
Bye. Thanks, Erin.